Est le Lat Sao, les mains collantes. Les deux adversaires cherchent à se toucher, ce qui développe l'agilité, la souplesse et surtout la sensibilité des bras. Et lorsque la faille est trouvée, les coups pleuvent. Est le Lat Sao, les mains collantes. Les deux adversaires cherchent à se toucher, ce qui développe l'agilité, la souplesse et surtout la sensibilité des bras. Et lorsque la faille est trouvée, les coups pleuvent.
So everyone, welcome to the podcast. And I've been waiting a really long time to actually realize this. I'm a little bit nervous because we're talking to Master Robin Tsang in Hong Kong. And welcome to my podcast, Robin.
Oh, hello, Master Paul. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too, mate. And I've been waiting a long time to do this because I think the time that I spent with you in Hong Kong, I got to know you fairly intimately. You're a very generous person. You're very giving with your information, and you're extremely talented. For at least from my point of view, in your training, the way you train. And what really impressed me is the time that you dedicate with people, helping them, aligning them, helping them to understand energy flow, how to keep the stance, even from the basic forms going up to then maybe your combat programs. And so that time that I spent with you guys, which was over a 2-year period, I think, there's special memories for me. And and also, as you know, I'm not with you guys anymore, but I've always spoken well about things that I've learned there. My time with Sijo, my time with you, time with Elaine and Sifu Chen. They will always be embedded in my heart as a beautiful experience. So, how are you? I thought that with this podcast, we could talk about how things are going with you, how you've spent a lot of time with Sijo. And
yes.
I'll let you talk. So if you want to talk a bit about your history and how you got into Wing Chun and how you got to know Sijo and where you're going these days.
Okay, thank you for the opportunities. Yes, I think the last time we met is 2009 or 2010. Yeah, 16 years.
Like
yes, a lot of things has changed.
Yeah.
I start learning Wing Chun. Leung Ting Wing Chun at the age of 15. Before that, I practiced Taekwondo for a few years. And I think shortly before I took the test, black belt test. I asked my Taekwondo instructor, so how should I fight on the street? Then he was being very honest, and he said, if you kick too high, kick like we did in the competition, you will be in a very dangerous situation. You should focus more on your hand techniques. I was very happy that he was being honest, but at the same time, I was very disappointed
Right.
because I think, oh, so does that mean what I learned could not really be applied? What I trained for most of the time, the high kicks, the flying kicks could not be applied on the street. And then I start searching for other martial arts, so to complement my, so as a, how to say, supplementary training for my taekwondo.
Right.
So I went to karate school. It's the Goju style. There was a Goju style karate school. I think 5 minutes walk away from Leung Ting gym, headquarters. I went up, and but it was not my stuff because the sensei, he was very powerful and very very strong. But I don't think it's suitable for my body. Then I went to a Thai boxing school in Chim Sa Tsui, where my school is located now. I was 15, almost 16 at that time. So, and the Thai boxer teacher, he said, "Oh, you are younger than 16, so you need to ask your parents to sign the
Really?
the form for you." Then I know my parents would not do that. Then I kept searching. Then I saw a poster on street. It's Wing Chun. So at that time, okay, there was a very big size poster, a lot of poster. It's like movie poster because there are several pictures. The big one is a group of people doing Silim Tao, and there was a little guy dressed in black and yellow stripe standing very, very on a platform.
Okay.
And that is Grandmaster Leung Ting. And then there are a few small pictures. One is Sifu Kanstrak, like teaching.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Teaching the special police. Another one is the Sifu embodies bit,
Yeah.
teaching I think it's the hostage rescue team in FBI.
That's
His
right.
photos.
That's right. Yeah, they did.
And yes, and then it said, and then there's a big caption on the poster. This is not a movie poster. This is not a movie. After I'm working for Grandmaster Leung Ting for almost 2 decades, right? Now
Mamma
I know
mia.
that is his style. You can say he really means it. Maybe people thought it was a movie poster, but at the same time, he got your attention, right?
Yeah.
That is very successful, right?
Yeah.
Then I look, okay, and there's a class. There's a class in a community center. So that is quite far away from where I live, and my parents would allow it because community center, it's safe. It's more like, how to say, friendly, because in 90s and before, many people in Hong Kong, especially for Kung Fu school, they always think, oh, if you do Kung Fu school had some connection with gangster. That's why they would not allow the kids to go to Kung Fu school. But a Wing Chun class in community center is okay. So then I sign up and learn from an early student of Grandmaster Leung Ting, and I learned from him for 3 years.
What was his name?
And his name is Sifu Timmy Lee, Leon Tim Sifu.
Sifu
Yes.
Timmy Lee. Okay.
Sifu Timmy Lee. I think he started Wing Chun in 1974 or 73. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then, because at that time in Hong Kong, there's a promotion syllabus.
Yeah.
When you're up to student grade 9, if you want to go higher, like to student grade 10, student grade 11, or primary level technicians, you have to attend at least 12 instructor tutorials taught by Grandmaster Leung Ting.
Yeah.
So then I attended, and at that time it was once a week. I still remember every Thursday evening, 10:30, very late, because before that it was Grandmaster Chang Chun Fun's class.
Right.
So he could only teach around that time, 10:30 to 12 a.m. Yes, yes.
Far out.
So yes. Because at that time, Grandmaster Chang Chin was the wise headman of the Leung Ting gym.
Yes.
So that's why most of the instructors, most of the people at his class, Thursday evening class, were instructor of the IWTA. So that's why Grandmaster Leung Ting picked the time after Grandmaster Chang's class as the instructor class. Yes.
Anyway, you
And
had a
then
lot of you had a lot of really important instructors that came out of that school. Just
many.
Mamma mia.
Mhm.
I
And
remember
they're all over the world.
first. I think it was one of my first lessons, and there was a guy, and I was outside on the street, and there was this guy just checking me out, and I thought, what does he want, you know? And I was looking. I think I was taking some photos of the entrance, and he just looking at me.
Was he
He was a fourth.
man with-
It was a fourth
with
level at the
glasses?
time.
with glasses or with shade, with his
Yeah,
sunglasses?
he had shades. Yeah, he had shades.
Actually, that is. I could say that is the top 5. I mean, one of the 5 earliest students of Grandmaster Leung Ting. His
I
name
found
is
out, but
David Chow.
I
His name
remember
is
him
David
well,
Chow.
and I thought he was really cool, you know, because then inside the class, first he was sussing me out, and then he presented himself. And,
Yes.
But I've got a bad memory. I can't remember his name.
David
really
Chow,
nice
Chow
person.
Man Leung. And he was a former how we call it, soldier serving in the British Army.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
Yes,
I remember he was hardcore. He was a really tough guy.
Yes,
I remember.
Yes, and I remember you said after you met him in the class, I introduced both of you to each other, and then after we left, you said he came because you work as a bouncer, so you met many people, many tough guys. You said so. He gave me an impression. If we fight, if I don't knock him out, like. Then he will knock me out.
I remember.
That guy. Remember that? Yes. I think after that also said the same thing. I think he said you are heavy punchers or something. I don't remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Thanks for that.
he is a heavy puncher too. Yes.
Yeah. But you can work it out. You feel it straight away, just in his presence, the way he moves. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew he was a tough guy.
Yes, and he is very practical.
Yeah. But that's what I like about him. He's really straightforward. You know, no nonsense. But so was Grandmaster Chen Fung. I mean, that guy worked for hours, man. I couldn't believe how much he just works and works and works. And I thought, my God, he doesn't stop. You know. So anyway, we're talking about them. We're supposed to be talking about you.
Okay.
Yeah, but and even with you, Robin, I remember bloody hell, mate. You're a machine. You just keep pressing and pressing. You don't give up, and even with you was impressive, mate. So I can only imagine. I've watched a lot of your videos, and I see that you're sort of like next to other guys that do combat and drills, and then you execute it Wing Chun style, which I think is really cool.
Next to other guy, which one?
Yeah, some other guy that's, I think it was like a boxer, kickboxer or something. And you both
okay. Actually, that one is a Hong Kong boxing champion. You can Google him. His name is Rex Cho.
Rex Cho.
Rex. REX is his name, and Cho is TSO. TSO. Yeah, okay. I think he's going to fight. You know, in Japan, there's a world famous boxer, very small guy, but very powerful, explosive, and fast, called Monster. His nickname. He's going to fight Monster. I think elder brother. Soon.
I think I've heard something about it. You know.
Yeah, Monster is very popular in
Yeah.
Asia. Yeah, in the world. Yes.
I just don't have time to follow everybody. It's so bloody hard. There's so many people around. There's so much talent. And so, what about talking a bit about now in the last 15, 16 years? How have you progressed? Like, did you end up opening up your own school? And like, do you teach publicly? Do you also teach maybe police enforcement and stuff like that? Because I think I saw you doing something like that.
Okay. For the past 15, 16 years. Okay. Actually, from 2015, I was invited to teach a content seminar in mainland China regularly. And there were policemen, and there were martial art lovers, and also there are Wing Chun instructors, and many other people. And there are also some people from Mongolia. They say they learn, Mongolian wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And there, right? And I remember that guy, very strong. Yes. And I didn't teach like in a police academy. I didn't do that. Yeah. But I taught some people who work as a policeman. Yes.
Right.
Yes. And then after that, it was until the last time I taught in mainland China was 2019 October in Beijing. I taught at my younger Kung Fu brother's Taekwondo studio. He practiced Wing Chun, but he teach Taekwondo as a profession. Yes, the ITF style, which the competition you can use your punch. It's not only kicking. Yeah. And then COVID broke in, everything stopped, and then I had a serious disease. And
I know.
Yes, and then I remember before Controller, the last tutorial we took with Grandmaster Leung Ting was 2020, February. At that time, I think he was in his 70s, right? Next year, he will be 80s. So we told him, hey, we call him Sigong because he's the Sifu of my former Sifu. So I said, hey, Sigong, why don't you go back to UK? He has a family in UK. He has a house in UK. Because Hong Kong is too condensed, and we watch the news, the controller spread very, very quickly.
Yes.
So you should go back. At first, he didn't listen, but then he went back. He went to UK. Since then, I had not seen him until June 2023. He came back. Yes. And he aged a lot. I mean, he got old a lot. But of course, I also got old a lot, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think except for me.
No, you look the same. You look the same. Yes.
No, but I'm only joking. I believe me, I feel old, mate. I feel old.
Yes. But because he's getting old. He is almost 80s, and he is not. Because when he reached that age, and I think he worked too much in the past, traveled too much, so he is not really a healthy old man, honestly. So he will still teach, but not physical. He doesn't, how to say, participate physically as much as the time you met him.
Yeah.
But I think it happens to every master. We could not avoid aging. Yes. Yes. But the good thing is, in the past, he, like, for example, in 1998, when we learned from him, he taught very systematically. Like, okay, according to the curriculum and program. Okay, first section, Chi Sao. After you learn the Lat Sao, you should learn the underneath punch, all kinds of pieces. But then a few years before Controller, I think because he thought, okay, all of you guys in the tutorials, you have learned that long, so every time when they ask him about sections and sequence, he would be a bit like upset. I would not say angry, upset. Hey, don't be idiotic. You know, that is his famous saying, right? Don't be idiotic. Don't remember. Don't remember the sequence. Your enemy will not fight you as you do in a sequence. So he will show us a lot of sub variation of the arms. So that is all from, how to say, from tactile reflex. I think that is the time I learned most from him. Because like he said, like what you told me in Hong Kong, Wing Chun is a live martial art. No fixed sequence, right? Yes. Mm-hmm.
Look, I'm very, how can you put it? Yeah, I have this deep connection with you guys, with your family. I have a deep connection also with my first family. And, but a lot of times I like to observe where they connect, and between the Sigung,
and Grandmaster Leung Ting, yes.
Leung Ting.
Yes.
And you know that I had so much trouble to see him again after so many years, and it was really important. I fell sick one night, and I was supposed to go to dinner with
like
him and
starstruck, right? Starstruck, huh?
Yeah. But then I managed to see him afterwards before I left. Yeah. I managed to. But yeah, this was also thanks, you know, for you as well, because you helped me a lot to understand the customs.
Yeah, I organized it, but I didn't go there. Yes, I had to stay at the office.
Yeah. But I'm always very grateful for these things, because you, along with a few other people here in Europe, helped me to come into Hong Kong and see these special attributes. So even when you're talking and you talk about how Sijo, you know, talks in this manner, it makes me laugh because I remember it well. And it's nice.
You like to say, like, yes. I still remember you went to Grandmaster Leung Ting school.
Yeah. And it's just, I just couldn't believe it. You know, he would work, and then at a certain point, when he'd put his hands on his hips and does big circles, and he'd say, okay, let's do circles. And then we go back into it again. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how much energy he had. It was amazing. But it was the same thing with Sijo. And Sijo, for me, it was a bit different, because with Sijo, I felt like I have to conduct myself in a certain way, because I don't want to give the impression that I'm trying to prove how great I am. I'm trying to learn what they're trying to teach me. And so each teacher has his unique way of teaching.
Yes, but was that difficult for you to, how to say, to understand at that time? Because his teaching, I think, is different than what you had been doing. Exactly.
Yes. Well, it's ironic. And I don't want to sound, but a lot of the way I grew up with understanding Wing Chun, especially from Australia to Europe, they all have different ways of thinking about it. And I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but they sort of view how to conduct yourself, how to train yourself in different ways. So when I came to China, I relied on you a lot, because you would help me understand the customs or how to approach, or because it's different. It's very different. It's like if I go to Japan, or if I go to Istanbul, you know, culturally, if I go to India, culturally, everybody has a different sort of way of interpreting or relating themselves. With Sijo, it wasn't difficult for me, and I'll explain to you why. Because I felt that I'd studied a lot of the books, a lot of his videos, a lot of the way he wrote how to use the logic in his books, right? And so, trying to be practical, I say, well, if he's the top man, because he's the top man of the lineage and representing this way of teaching, all right? And he says, there has to be a reason. There has to be a reason why he would say something in a particular fashion. So not only me, but I think a lot of the other teachers would analyze a lot of those teachings. Then obviously when he comes to Italy and he does special seminars or you spend time with him, it's a concentration of what he's already said. So what I did was just let myself go and feel what he does. That was the best way I could interpret it, through feeling. So if I exchange with somebody, I'm fairly neutral. I can apply a pressure, but I want to feel what he's teaching me. So if I press it and I feel it's coming from his legs, his body, then I interpret it to what he writes. So I don't know if I'm overcomplicating it, but that's how I've tried to learn from people who are better than me. And then just experiment and work it, trying. But one thing is for sure, Wing Chun is supposed to be simple, but sometimes it's so simple that people make it difficult.
Yes, that is also a problem in Hong Kong because the way he teaches simple and very direct. So, and since 2009, he taught twice a week group class. He got condensed class. So you could learn, for example, he would teach you, the pace will teach you much quicker than at other ordinary class. But the thing he emphasized, you have to attend other ordinary class or you have to train with a Kung Fu partner. Otherwise, you could not pick it up. I remember there are two talented students, they came. They really, Qigong really taught him quick. But the problem is, because he taught so direct and quick, so after they learn up like the wooden dummy Chi Sao, they thought, oh, I finished everything. I don't need to learn anymore. They stopped. And then later they think, oh, I should learn something else, maybe other style. And then they try to, of course, when they go to those school or class, the instructor say, hey, do you have any martial art background? I do Wing Chun. And then show me. Then, of course, they just learn up the program, but they do not really spend time training that well, with them, the instinct. And then they say, oh, then come back, hey, Robin, they told me, what he teach doesn't work. I said, Qigong said, the time you finish the program, you finish because according to Hong Kong system, when you reach 4th level technician, it means that you finish the whole Anam system. You finish learning up, but it's time to drill on it, to make it, to understand it. But he said many people, when they learn up the program, they thought, oh, I have learned up everything. Then they stop. I don't think that is a good way, because he always emphasized you have to train. Yes. You have to train a lot. Yes.
The problem, though, for a lot of us was the direct access.
Yes.
It was almost, I felt that I had a very rare opportunity, and I did the best I could with that period of time. But for a lot of the people in the Western world, having direct access is not so easy. So that's why we have Sifus that work under him, like yourself, and that can continue with the teachings.
Yes. But I think he liked you a lot, and he trusts you, because usually he does not let people film his teaching, film his class. Yes. But the other thing I like is, I am happy, and I think when I tell you now, you also be happy, is many people say evolve. If you say a better word, is evolve, right? Change to a new thing. But from the time I start learning from him up till today, I could say he's always congruent of what he's teaching.
Can I just say this?
He never create new stuff. Yes.
He said that to me even then. He said to me, I'm always going to be an evolution. I don't think that everything I do is the ultimate. I remember him specifically saying that to me.
Yes, and also because some people at that time they don't. They actually, I don't think maybe they only met him once or twice, or they have never met him. On the so they say, oh, he always expand the program, so you have to keep learning. I don't think so,
Yeah,
because for decades he always teach the same stuff.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
but sometimes maybe he will mix up with the sequence, but it happens to anybody, right?
yeah,
Like this come after this. As soon as you have every puzzle, I think that is okay, and I'm very sure about this because, for example, when I learned the knife from him, when I learned the Batamdo from him, okay, I finished the Batamdo in 2015.
2015.
Yeah, 2015,
Okay, okay.
2015 or two, and then after some while, when I have enough spare money, because it costs a lot to take private lesson from him.
Yeah,
It costs a lot to take private lesson. So I asked him for a private lesson. If you could teach me a private lesson, I want to get corrections on the Bajamdo. And he showed me and asked me the correction, and I asked him the corrections, which I asked him several years ago. The same, right? If he make up something, how could he remember it and gave me the same answer?
yeah,
And
yeah.
then the other thing is when he explained, he always focused on the realistic situation, the practical situation. Yes, I remember, say for example, when we practice the side kick in the Chumkill form, sometimes because of sweat, the trouser will come a bit tight, right? So he said, so we pull up our trouser. He said, don't do any excessive movement. The sooner when you pull up your trousers, it means you give a signal, you telegraph your movement. You tell your enemy you're going to kick. Even if you tear off your trousers, you still need to kick.
Yeah.
Don't pull up your trousers. Don't do any extra movement. He said one more step, one more extra movement, you are one time slower.
Well, can I make a point? I remember specifically at a seminar.
Yes.
I don't know if you were there, but he was talking about Chum Kyun. He was talking about the sidekick. And, I remember Sifu Kuchufu was there, and I think Sigung Kansbeck was there. I said, he says, anybody want to ask a question? I said, yeah, I want to ask a question. I said, how come when you do a sidekick, he used to do it almost like a circle, and he would press in the direction he was going, right? And whereas in Europe, we would do like the side kick, come back, and then do a step. Whereas he would do it like side kick and room. That would happen. You know what I'm saying? Wow. That was the sort of kick he did. And he said to me, well, why are you pulling the leg back? Once you've hit him, you want to maintain your pressure on him as you're attacking him. So he was visualizing empty, through an empty movement, his connection with the other person, and then pressing in and then doing the step, which I thought, wow, that was pretty interesting. I mean, maybe it sounded like a stupid question, but I was the only one who asked it.
Yeah, you should ask, because he said you should stick to your enemy. He used a very, you could say a metaphor.
Yeah.
But it makes everybody remember. Stick to your enemy, stick to him like a piece of shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he like to say that, but it sounds like dirty, but it helps me. It left us like a deep impression. Okay, stick to him like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Then when you stick to him, how can he kick? Oh, that is what he said. Yeah.
Look, I'm not sure how you say it in English. In Italian, you say rimpianti, when you sort of like cry over the past. And it's a shame, because I care for Zijo, and I wish that he would have been more present in Italy. But working more with the principles the way he taught it, because there was a lot of differences of teaching. between one country and the other. So it's not like, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm trying to say one's bad, one's good. It's just different ways of teaching to come to the same objective. You know, so I like the way they did it in China, because for me, once he showed me a section, he connected it with Lat Sao, and he just went directly into combat. So his mind was always like this. It's very simple. What you applied, you had to do it with a sense of continuation, having also combat force.
Yes,
and
because to us...
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking too much. Sorry.
Because to us, lat means, chi means sticking.
Yeah.
And lat means remove yourself from sticking. Or for example, if I say my shoulder fall off, that means my shoulder is dislocated from my body, from this lat. So in Hong, I know in Europe you have a Lat Sao program, right?
Yeah.
But in Hong Kong, for us, the Lat Sao program is just apply what you learn in the Chi Sao section from one step distance. Yes.
Exactly.
So it's a bit, it might look a bit messy for outsiders, but that is, I think you had a lot of real fight experience. That is how real fights are like, right?
But that's why I connected very quickly.
Yes.
When Sijo, I mean, if he sees this video, he'll remember what he said to me. We were in Italy, and I was very frustrated because I was obsessively trying to understand Wing Chun with combat. And so Sifu Robin was probably the very first one who gave me a clear understanding of how to apply in direct combat. And the thing is that with our Lat Sao Chi Sao, it's not something pre-programmed. It looks like a program initially, but then when you work under stress, it's very reactive. Your responses are very reactive, so very direct. And people, I think, find that hard to understand that. But when I was in Hong Kong, you guys were doing it all the time. And with control as well, but you were working those principles. It's not like, you know, how we do it in Europe, we got to beat the crap out of each other. No? But you guys were doing it with this excellent control, which was, and still mentally projecting. You know, if I'm saying something wrong, tell me. I don't want to sound like a know-all.
No, it's okay.
But that was a very big revelation for me, and that's why I enjoyed coming there. But I was doing it already because I was always in a situation with my security work that I was doing an automatic. So when Sijo said to me, I'll teach you to become a really good fighter, and I said, Sijo, I said, I really want to learn Wing Chun because I'm sick of fighting. I had enough of fighting at that point because I'd had a lot of fights with the type of work that I did.
No, but you know, actually, I think in the beginning, he didn't know you work at the door. He thought you were an actor.
Me?
Do you know that?
Me?
Yes, because you make some short films, right? Remember?
Yeah.
And then I think you show him on your phone. And then I remember you were not there one time. You were on your way to Hong Kong at that time. Before at that day, that afternoon, I had lunch with him and Mr. Mok. You remember Mr. Mok, his close friend?
Yes,
Mr. Mok,
yes.
the old gentleman. And then they said, you know, Paul, Italy, you know, he's an actor here. He's rich. He said, he thought you were an actor.
Mamma mia! I should have been an actor. I should have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was really impressed. There was, and also there were a few technicians there. I think they were third or fourth. Maybe they were higher than us because we were both third.
Maybe people my age, or the young gentleman, or the older one.
Yeah, no, there were a couple of younger guys.
I think you mean Sifu John Lau. He and his younger brother elder brother. They are still teaching at the headquarters. Yes, now.
Right. Yeah, I remember them, and I remember they were really precise. They were working in sections.
Yeah,
I was
they're
checking out,
they're very precise. Yeah, they're very precise.
I think they were working the 6th section that night.
Lat Sao.
Yep. Yep. And they were working quite heavily. Yeah. I remember that specifically. Yeah, and I just sort of like, hey, how you doing? You know, I just did my thing. That was cool. It's interesting in this interview because I think it's also a chance to understand really diverse mentalities because Europe, you know, they work one way. In Australia, they work in another. In America, they work in another. And but at the end of the day, we're trying to unite, you know, on a global scale, the mentality that's taught from Hong Kong. You know, but that's not only with you. That's even with the other teachers. And I think that's a very hard thing to do globally. It's not easy.
Yes.
And I see your demos. I saw you beat up a guy. I don't know if we want to talk about that. And you say you weren't very good, and I thought you were very good. And
a guy?
Sorry?
A guy? Where? When? You mean a demo?
No.
Not a demo?
No. As you know how we are in Italian, you know, say, gli hai dato le mazzate. No, I saw your film where you fixed the guy up.
You mean in like on a stage?
Yep.
You know, actually, I felt really bad at that time, and I think I also text you after that. You know, because at that time, there were two people, and they were students of Sifu Robin and I, and so they were in Guangzhou. Guangzhou is actually a city that is now an hour away from Hong Kong by high-speed train, maybe 45 minutes. And they invite Sigong to give a talk, a seminar there. So actually, we went to several places to have a talk. And then I think the video you saw is one of the scene. So the whole talk is about 1 hour 15 minutes. So Sigong Leung Ting would spend around 45 minutes. Okay, explain everything from the history of Wing Chun, and then the performance of Silim Tao, application of Silim Tao, Chum Kill, Beauty, Wooden Dummy, Chi Sao, Rifle Chi Sao, and except the weapons, because we did not bring the long pole and Bajamdo up.
Okay.
And after that, there was a Q&A section in all the talk, and then who has question? And then many arms raised up. The people say, okay, I would like to come up and try. So I think if you saw there was, except besides me, there were other people.
Yes.
And Sigong picked me, hey, Robin, because he always asked me to do something for him at that time, right? Hey, Robin, hey, you try with this guy. And then I couldn't, that guy, of course you could see, because I didn't know what to do, because at that time, we have been saying how systematic and how good Leung Ting Wing Chun is for a whole 45 minutes, right? And you came up and you want to challenge. That means either you are crazy or you must be very good, right?
Yeah.
So I had to fight. I had to fight him. Yes. Then I didn't know when to stop, and then so that's why I fought until Sigong pulled us aside. Yes. No, but I felt embarrassed because I didn't want to do that on him. But he came up.
Yeah.
And then I had to do that. And at the same time, on my mind, I was thinking, okay, he's not my enemy.
Yeah.
But
obviously.
okay, but he just want to fight. I had to fight him. So if I lost, okay, you know what happened, you know. And that's why I had to do that. Yes. But I don't think it looks ugly. Yes.
But
Yes,
you know, that's
yes.
the thing. Real fighting looks ugly, man.
Yes.
People do not understand that. They expect a Donnie Yen movie to go perfect and everything like that. And it's not always like that. It's not always like that. But it's the outcome. It's the outcome that's important.
But one thing that I learned from this match, this kind of like exchange matches, because of adrenaline, so you feel tired much quicker.
Yes.
And you could not really rely on sequence. You just do according to the situations. And the other thing is, like what you and Grandmaster Leung Ting always emphasize, heavy punching. And
well, I appreciate
like
you giving me some credit, but it's Sijo. Sijo was teaching this all the time.
Yeah, you told me you taught me how to punch hard, and also he taught me how to punch hard. He at that time he always say, "Hey, your punch are not hard enough." Whenever you walk past the wall back, punch at least 1,000 times. You see, if you have heavy punches, it's like you are bringing two hammers on the street. When someone want to bully you, hit him with the hammer. That is what he said. Yes. And he also said, you know how heavy my punch was when I was young? I went to a the butcher shop, butcher shop.
Yeah.
And I could smash a big head with one punch.
Oh my God. Hey,
You have to train your punch until you could do that. That is what he told me. Yes.
Anyway, as you know, there was some footage that I put on the net with me and Sijo, right? But I have to tell you this story because it's funny. I put some music in the video so you don't hear everything that we're talking about. And I said to him, Sijo, can you give me a hit? Can I feel what your punch is like? And he said to me, are you crazy? He goes, you want me to kill you? And I said, no, it's okay. I said, don't kill me, but can I feel it? So in the video where we're doing the Lat Sao programs, I think it was the 5
Lat Sao movement. Yes.
He's just hitting me about 30%, right? And he's going, bang! And he's hitting me right here. If you watch the video, you see my body going boom, because I was pretty big those days, and you see my body going boom, boom. And I said, okay, that's enough. But so he had a really heavy punch when he was really relaxed, and he got. Whoa, I felt it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a whip.
Yeah.
Yes. And I once asked him, how could he obtain the punching power? And he said, I thought he had some secrets. He said, no, just air punching, wall back. And if you have no wall backs, just practice knuckle push-up. Make sure you keep your elbow in, knuckle push-up, he told me. Do this, that is enough. And,
that's interesting.
You know, and also he was very fast, right? He's very fast. And I asked him, how could you be so fast? Do you do all kind of like speed training? And he just said, when you are relaxed enough, then you could be fast.
Yeah.
Yes. But he emphasized Pun Sao and form should be slow. He said only when you do free Chi Sao, you should be quick.
There was I remember asking him about the Chum Kyu, and I remember him also saying that you can practice it 2 ways. Do it very slowly, but then you also got to do it. I'm talking about Chum Kyu, like as if you're doing a combat. You remember this?
No.
He said you got to do
I think I was not there.
Right. So you can also do the Chum Q like a combat form. So I remember him talking about doing it very slowly, but he also said then when you keep working it, you can also turn it into every move becomes a combat move. But anyway, this is what I remember when he was talking.
He said every move in Wing Chun can be applied to fighting. That is what he said.
Yeah. A lot of that philosophy I've always maintained in the way I train, the way I teach. So it's a very logical approach for me, and it simplifies a lot of things having this mentality. When he would do 5 Lat Sao programs, they were combat programs, whereas when we were doing it, it was sort of like continuous. It was a continuous evolution of reflexes from different angles. But with the Hong Kong Lat Sao, it was start and finish, you know. That's how he was. But he was teaching that also with the sections, that mentality.
Yeah, with the sections mentality, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, in the past, I mean, before 1970s. Yes, I started learning Wing Chun in 1995, but that is what he told me. He would only teach his student to do Lat Sao, like free sparring, after they learn up the first 6 sections of Chi Sao. At that time, there were only 6 sections of Chi Sao, because section 6 and section 5, they were supposed to be one section. But later, some of his students, they found it difficult, so he break it into 2. So he broke it into 2. I mean, Grandmaster Leung Ting 2. But then in 70s, and some of his students, they want to participate in the Kung Fu competition.
Yeah,
free fighting competition.
I remember this.
And so he could not ask the student to wait until they finish all the 6-7 sections Chi Sao, right? So that's why he took out 5 attacking movement from section 1 Chi Sao and said, okay, this is the entry attack when you go up to the ring fight, the Kung Fu competition. Then that's why there are 5 Lat Sao attacking movement. But then he further explained, but actually every technique in the Chi Sao sections, you should practice and can be applied in Lat Sao. That is what he said.
Yeah.
And I remember, you remember, because you are also you also study Leung Ting Wing Chun. You remember in section 3 you have the pull, the grab, the Lat Sao. Then I asked, Sigo, when will you use this one, right? I don't think you would use it in fight, right? You will suddenly grab. And then he was very quick with his mind. Okay, you look at that fire extinguisher. You don't use it often, but it doesn't mean that it's useless. Then I asked, what should you do? So when someone approach you like this, maybe it would happen like this. So then you apply this section 3 cheese movement on him.
Right.
It might not happen, but at least you know what to do. Then he said it's like you download a lot of apps on your computer, on your phone, on your mobile phone. There are many apps, you don't use it. But what if you need it one day?
Yep.
Yeah, that is his explanation. Yes. So very systematic, very practical.
Yeah, so it's fundamentally, and this is what you're doing now. You're teaching like this.
Yes. I'm teaching like this, but from your influence and also from his influence, now besides the techniques, when I teach, I also focus a lot on conditioning. Conditioning means, you see, I have a lot of war bags and, different kind of heavy bags, and also a kicking tie in my school. So because I want my student to also be powerful and explosive. And also, yes, and also I don't practice the punch like I used to do, like 1,000 times. I do it more like in intervals. like I saw like what from the experience you told me, and from Sifu Leung Ting told me also, from the video you could see on YouTube, on social media, the fight, they end, I mean street fight, they end very quickly, right? Very explosive person. So I would say like maybe 10 seconds, try to do as quick and explosive as I can, and then rest. 10 second rest. I train like this, and I also teach my students to practice like this.
Yeah. It's very hard, I think, sometimes when you're learning an art, especially if you're very passionate and you want to try and work out all the ins and outs of programs that are more advanced and stuff like that. When you do start approaching these advanced programs, it also changes your outlook on the way you move, the way you generate your energy and stuff like that. So I unfortunately broke away from the lineage. That, you know, I still consider myself part of the lineage. I still consider you know, part of my community, my family, my friend. And but a lot of the stuff that I learned, be it from Grandmaster Leung Ting and from Sifu Leung Ting, I try and apply it and condense it into the world of combat. Through the world of combat, what did I learn? I learned that everything is really chaos. And I can only talk about security, which I've done on a few levels. And when you're dealing with a lot of people at once, or even one-on-one, and something happens so dynamically, it becomes like an aggression. It's not so much a match. So your responses, your Chi Sao reflexes respond in a different way. I'm not saying sparring is bad. I'm just saying what really does happen out when we say the street, it really is different. But what remains the same, which is why I had that conversation with Master Robin, I like to study all the other systems and have an understanding. So my Wing Chun knows where the energy is coming from. If I understand how they move, that helps me to get my center stronger. So it's a lot of work, and maybe I'll make a lot of mistakes on the way, but fundamentally, I always keep my combat in that close range zone of shock, aggression, multiple people, things that happen unexpectedly, which will never happen in a match, because in a match, sure, they'll beat the crap out of you if he's stronger, but at least in a match, I've got 3 months to know who he is, how much he weighs. I watch videos of how he fights. And so when I go there, I'm not saying it's dangerous. I know he can beat the crap out of me. I'm not stupid. But the way you train is completely different. It's not the same thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I understand. So that's why, because you have experience in competition fighting, and also and a lot on the street. So you think that they are two different things.
Yeah.
Right? So many people say, oh, it doesn't work in the ring, but many people, they like to criticize like this. But I think that is what is, you cannot say, example, how to say, Panadol. You can use Panadol to cure AIDS, right?
Yeah.
Right. It is used for another situation, right?
Yeah. But that's the thing, though. Is it like, if we look at a lot of internal systems, like I consider Wing Chun a very internal system, and if you look at Aikido, if you look at Tai Chi, what they represent on the type of training that you do on the body, it's very hard to reproduce that in a ring situation. You can do it in bits and pieces, but if you've got a regulations pre-stabilized, then you're going to work within that program of what the context of the competition is. And it changes as well, because both of you know who you are. You study the distances, you study all the timing and stuff like that. One does groundwork, the other one doesn't, and you have to specialize. It's a lot of work, but it's good and it helps you. But it's completely different if I do training under stress and I say, okay, guys, I'm going to have 10 of you smashing into one person. and it's complete chaos. And my Wing Chun reflexes have to work. It's a different context of combat. So that's what I try and explain. But at the same time, I try and get the people to respect the competition, the concorrenza, we call it in Italian. And that's the boxers, the wrestlers, the jiu-jitsu guys, the kickboxers. Because if they get in the right range, you know, they're going to hurt you. Because anybody at close range can hurt. So our Wing Chun has to be good in all those contexts for the short range.
Yes.
It's two worlds that are different. They're two different worlds, but they integrate because on the street you're gonna meet somebody who's done some basic boxing or maybe who's done some basic grappling. It's not like the old days where there were less people. Now there are more talented people, even on an average scale. But anyway, these are just my opinions, and I'm talking about myself when we're supposed to be talking about you. Yeah, so sorry about that.
I agree.
Yeah. But you're doing it as well in your own way, but you know, within your school, your structure, you're doing that.
Yes, I'm doing that because some people, like a girl, he signed up because she said she has a crazy college at her workplace, and she might need to use Wing Chun, use something to protect herself.
A crazy college.
Crazy co-worker.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why because people, they pay me to learn something to protect themselves. I don't want to give them a false hope, or you got false confidence.
Yeah.
So that's why I will try my best to prepare them to different kinds of situations.
Yeah. But essentially, with all the seminars that were going on in Europe and even in Hong Kong, Zhou and Gung tried to cater for a lot of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, that would be one of the reasons why the teachings were different from country to country.
Yes. So, and I remember the special seminar. He taught us what is someone try to pull your legs, right? So he taught us into different phases. From outside, the furthest distance, you kick him. Closer, you punch his face. And then if he crouches his eyes, and if he grapple you, remember the downward elbow strike?
Yeah, I remember that.
And then
I remember, do you remember what happened at the Fight Quest? You remember he got me in the neck.
On the floor. Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And he said, try and take me down. And I tried. I mean, I'm not a fantastic wrestler, but I was a big guy. I was 103 kilos in that period. And I tried. And he grabbed me. I still don't know how he did it because I tried to explain it when I got back to Italy, right? And I couldn't do it as well as him. But I'll tell you what he did. He managed to get his fingers and he blocked off my air pipes. I couldn't breathe.
Oh, because what he said is, okay, when you practice this one, make sure you have to find there's two hollow parts.
Yeah. But he found it straight away because he did it in real time. So I tried hard and it went straight there. And I was blocked. I couldn't go down. And people thought, well, couldn't you do it? And I said, no, I couldn't. I couldn't move.
Because that happened to him once when he was in 1996 when he was teaching a seminar in Wulam. Wulam is a province that is 5 hours away from Hong Kong. He was teaching a group of guys, and then a guy was standing very close to him, maybe arm's length, and he asked, "Hey, Sifu, what if someone grapple you?" And then he suddenly go down and grab his leg.
Yeah.
And and then he tried to pull Grandmaster Leung Ting to the ground. Of course, he rolled on the ground with him, but then he rolled over and kneel on that guy, and then grabbed him by the throat. And then he saw somebody was recording the whole situation secretly.
Oh, really?
Yes, 1996. And then that's why.
Did they ever release the footage?
No. I don't know if he has it, but then the head instructor he apologized. And then later he came all the way to Hong Kong. And at first, Qigong Leung Ting thought he wanted to came up to challenge, and then he came up again with a lot of gifts and said, "Oh, I want to came and apologize again." Yeah. And then later they became friends. So what I mean is, what he showed us, he really used it in the real situation.
Yeah. Oh, look, there was a few things he did in private lessons, even when he came to, well, maybe I should say this, but he did give me private lessons in Italy as well. So I'll say it and I'll deny it. It's not true. He never gave me lessons. But anyway, I felt his energy a few times. It was pretty impressive, and he was very reactive and direct. And so to me, that made a lot of sense. It made a lot of sense. It was very precise, accurate, and the follow-through of energy was, to me, very logical on a combat level. I got this a lot from Sijo. I got this a lot from Sifu Emin, and also other Sifus, my brother, also Sifu Paulo Delizio. I don't know if you remember him. But
I remember you see the big guy.
Yeah, the big guy.
The big
he
master,
was so soft and direct, and he knew how to contain you. And this was all stuff that Sijo was teaching. So, in a way, I should speak on behalf of the Italian people that spent a lot of time with him. That I think he's missed. I think people would have liked to have had that old reunions where they were all learning in the private, all the lessons. They learned the system, I think, 3 times privately with Sijo. Yeah. And it was always a beautiful way of learning because, it cut a lot of the stuff out. It went directly to target. And it's not that you can't work in harmony and do it repetitively. You can, but it teaches you directly within one step. When you said the magic word, you said everything needed to be done in one step. Since I left in 2010, that's all I've been saying to people. I said, look, man, you got to do everything in one step. If you can't do it in one step, don't worry about it. That one step has to contain your attack, your defense, your counterattack, everything all in one step. And a lot of people don't really train that way. And since in Hong Kong, every time we learned with Sijo, it was like that. Who would teach like that? I think Sifu Tassos, I think Sifu Emin, I think Sifu Dingledine. These people that I remember that applied very much what Sijo was teaching, very direct. I could probably name a lot of other people, but at the moment my brain's only working at 30%.
30%.
Well, I had an operation, so I'm still recovering from the operation I had a few days.
And the medicines, yes.
Yes. Yeah, they pumped my back up with anesthetic and stuff like that, and it was crazy. So I didn't want to take full anesthesia. I only took part in the back. But for many hours, I was paralyzed. I couldn't even move. It was funny feeling. But I don't know. I hope one day, that my wish is that there's a school structure that I deeply admire in Hong Kong, and I got a taste of it. And it meant a lot to me because when I came, it was to me, I was saying it to my wife the other day. I said, to me, it was like a dream come true going to the top, you know. I felt like Kung Fu Panda going to meet, you know, the Grand Wizard, you know what I'm saying? But that's what the experience was like to me. And I think I'll always treasure that. I hope that in the future, in some way, that we can reconnect with this type of teaching. That would be a nice dream.
I think that would happen one day. Yes.
And I know CGO hasn't been well, and give him my respects, please, when you see him.
Of course.
Yeah, and but yeah, I miss that. I think a lot of people miss his direct teachings, and when I was there, I really pushed a lot to try and get him to come more to Europe and more to Italy, because a lot of people
At that time, he has some like political problems.
Yeah, we all
I
know
think
the
you know, I
situation.
know, and everybody know. But what I think is, I remember I the day when he came back to Hong Kong, I told you, like after Conroller 2023 June, I invite him and his wife Diana to a dinner. And
I met
told
his
him-
wife as well, didn't I? She made
Diana,
sure I got
Diana.
she made sure I got my certificate.
That
he
is
promised.
Angela. That is Angela. That is Angela.
Yeah.
The one who worked. That's Diana. And then I told him, actually, I told him, you might not be happy when I say what I'm going to say below. People who you think are rebels, I mean some, they are not really rebels. And some people who are not rebels, what they did are more like a rebel.
I know.
He did not say anything. Then I told him, you know, I have been working for you for many years, and you know, I just want to train Wing Chun. I just want to teach Wing Chun. I don't want to deal with politics anymore. I have enough for that, you know, because he knew, he was very nice. He sent me text when he was in UK. He after he knew I had cancer. How are you? Are you doing okay? So that's why I told him I don't want to deal with that many. Maybe my sickness because of those stress dealing with politics. That is what I told him. Yes.
I truly understand. I think if someone understands, I understand what you're talking about. But
Yes, yes.
look. If anybody asks me, I always talk well about my experiences going to the restaurants with Sijo, seeing the other teachers, and just his way of thinking.
Yes.
I have an interview that I lost with Xu Yukman. That's right. Did I say that right?
Yes, Grandmaster Leung Ting. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I did an interview with him and Sijo, and do you believe I lost the recording? I'm so angry.
Oh, you have too many videos.
Yeah. But that was a beautiful interview with you, man. He was very gentle. He talked a lot about Grandmaster Yip Man's past and also his connections. You know, it was the same thing with Su Shung Tin. A lot of people didn't understand that the community was very closed. Very close. Very close.
Yes.
And
yes.
You know, sure, maybe there were a couple of Sifus from the other lineages that say, yeah, you're the best, or they pay each other out, but they know each other. They're cool. You know what I mean?
Yes. I actually met Grandmaster Leung Ting several weeks ago. Yes,
he's still alive. He's about 93.
Of course, he's healthy. He's almost 90, 89 or something.
Right.
And then actually he shared some interesting story about Bruce Lee and about Grandmaster Yip Man with me. Like he told me, actually, do you know Bruce Lee took half a year of private lesson. I hope I remember correctly. He took private lesson from Grandmaster Yip Man.
Right.
And then I asked, so what he has learned. Actually, he had learned a lot.
Look, if I'm not wrong, what I remember of the interview, actually, I'm thanking you because sometimes people don't even believe me that I did an interview with Grandmaster Leung Ting. And apart from the fact that he's very charismatic, and he says, I look younger than you. He says, I look younger than you. Look at my skin. You know, he was really cool. And, but when he talked about Yip Man, I'm pretty sure he was there in the 50s. He was learning in the 50s.
I guess so. I don't remember clearly. But one story he told me one time, it was an afternoon class in a place. And at that time there, because at that time when Grandmaster Yiman taught, he had no school sign, nothing, no promotion. So only he and two other students were there. I don't know. And then suddenly a guy came up. He studied other styles. He wanted to challenge Grandmaster Yiman. And Grandmaster Yiman said, hey, don't fool around. And just, he didn't care. He didn't care about it. Kept teaching, and then but that guy insists. So it pissed Grandmaster Yiman off. Also, so Grandmaster Yiman said, "Okay, come on," and then that guy punched him, and Grandmaster Leung said, "Oh, Grandmaster Yiman was so quick. He do a counter and hit the guy so hard, the guy crashed on a wall and start bleeding."
Bloody hell.
And then he came, and then Grandmaster Yiman stopped and would ask the guy, "Oh, do you need some medicine, Chinese medicine?" Then the guy ran away. After that, Grandmaster Yiman said, I didn't really use too much power. Maybe just 1/4 of my force." And then they all, he and other students, "No, Sifu, you were really mad and you really hit him hard." Yeah, a lot of this kind of fun, interesting story. Yes. I wish I was there.
A couple of points, and then I was going to say, some people, obviously in the internet world, they say crazy things or they say things that you know what I'm talking about. But in particular, I always asked Sijo when I was there. I remember the first thing that I saw was the deepest respect that he would have towards Grandmaster Yip Man. I mean, the way he spoke of him, always highly. He always had this deep respect. Even the way he bowed, it was very, I mean, somebody doesn't put much importance when you bow to a teacher or, to the pictures on the walls. They don't give that much importance. But I was really impressed at how deeply committed Sijo was towards Grandmaster.
He respect him so much, like one time, I think maybe last year, a group of people, they want to visit the grave of Grandmaster Yip Man. It was in a mountain. It is located in a mountain.
Right.
And the weather was not good because I think it was in June or November. In June, November, it was raining, and there were a lot of mosquito around his grave. And they say, okay, and so they say, hey, Grandma Sifu Leung Ting or Sifu Leung Ting, don't join us. Please rest. Stay at home. And then he was with his walking stick. And then he said, no, I have to go with you guys. Because without Grandmaster Yip Man, there will be no Leung Ting. That is what he said. Even he could not walk very well, but still he insists to go. So you see, he really respects Grandmaster Yip Man. And he really, sometimes when he look at the old pictures, you remember there were a lot of old pictures in his school.
I was going to talk about that. There's a lot of pictures there that he never...
He would stare at the... He would stare at the pictures. Yeah, he would stare at the pictures, pause, it seems like his mind was going back to that time,
Yeah.
like a movie. And
I
and
remember
one
these
thing,
things.
yes, and one
He
thing
was
you
like
don't
that.
know, yes, and the school Leung Ting Gym, it was originally where Grandmaster Yiman taught. It was originally, yeah, I have a picture of him having a meeting with other Kung Fu master there.
Isn't
Yeah.
that where I did some exchange with you guys as well?
To the same place, the Leung Ting Gym,
Same
the
place.
headquarters.
It's the same
Yes,
place.
it was where the Wing Chun Athletic Association was. Later, the Wing Chun Athletic Association moved to Prince Edward. Prince Edward is an area that is 10 minutes away from the Leung Ting Gym by subway. Yes, but it was originally where it was.
I was there, man.
Yes.
Yeah, that was, and that's why it felt like it was like a catapult. It was like the maximum point in my development, because I thought, wow, I finally got to a school that was of Sejos and of Grandmaster Yip Man, and even to have exchanged with you guys there, for me was like a really big honor, man. It's like I was on cloud 9.
Thank you.
No, it was a beautiful experience. But all right, let's get back into the conversation. You personally, Robin, where are you heading with your work, with your training, and how do you see the future?
The future. Actually in Hong Kong now, the Wing Chun that is, no Wing Chun, the martial arts that is most popular, I would say, is mixed martial arts.
Yep.
Yeah, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And many people think, Wing Chun is no good, and Wing Chun is only for using someone who doesn't know Kung Fu, who doesn't know martial arts. Yes.
But that's
because
they've been saying this for years. Yeah, but
they have been saying this for years.
Yeah, but we work differently. That's all.
Yes.
The reason I had this podcast with Master Robin, because that's the root of it: MMA, UFC, right? I said to him clearly, I said, look, I learned through working on insecurity. You're presented with these problematics, all right, or in self-defense. But let's just say security. One thing is for sure: security is very organized, but it can be very chaotic, because when you're dealing directly with people, you just don't know the energy where it's going to go. So the training is different. What I'm trying to say is, where I'm trying to make this link is that I'll respect the boxer, I'll respect the jiu-jitsu man, I'll respect it. But we're going to work within these conditions, compressed situations, and make our Wing Chun work as well as we can. If that means going to the ground, well, then maybe we have to go to the ground. But how are we going to do it? How are we going to learn it? How do we use our Wing Chun mechanics to resolve the problems? Because at the end of the day, I want to resolve the problem with Wing Chun. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
But I'm talking about the way I see it. I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. But I'll learn from the wrestler, I'll learn from the kickboxer, I'll learn from the boxer, and I'll take it by real hits, and eventually my Wing Chun is going to work. But I'll work it in I'll use the techniques that they use for competition. All right, if they're working drills, I'll use that mentality. But I'm going to finish it off in a short distance within what happens on the street in a very short time. So that's sort of how I've been doing it. And I don't think anything's wrong with that, because your Wing Chun will work. You just need to understand how to apply your Pak Sao, your Tan Sao, your Bong Sao, your Cham Sao, your Jut Sao under a direct line of attack. and it's a little bit more compressed, but it functions. But people don't know how to work this. I remember in the 70s, you think, I started in 71 and then 72, when we were working with Jim Fong, we would do work a lot of direct pressure, and we would work a lot of direct drills, always with the concept of walking. They would teach us Chisao walking, up, back and forth, back and forth. Sijo, what does Sijo say that's the same? Sijo says a lot of people don't understand the footwork. You need to put the footwork into your technique. So to me, they're speaking the same language. It works, but you need to work and adapt. That's all. But there's nothing to me in Wing Chun that I can't use in most situations, even if I get to the ground. But I have to understand what's happening to get to the ground. I have to work with someone better than me to make me understand how my Wing Chun can react. So a lot of times to learn, I lose. I like to lose. I like to be submitted. And then I learn what they're teaching me, and then I'll Wing Chun my way back into it. So that's the way I've done it.
Okay. Good. You could only it only. I think that is more very real. That is realistic. Yes, because if you want to learn how to deal with like for example, wrestler, you should try to learn it from a wrestler. So otherwise, it is like, okay, you learn how to deal with a Wing Chun guy. You ask someone to pretend who has not learned Wing Chun to pretend to be a Wing Chun guy to attack you.
Exactly.
Same situation, right? Yeah.
But from what you know of me, I've always had that attitude. But to me, the logic of Wing Chun will still prevail, or else I wouldn't be doing Wing Chun. I'm very lucky that I've worked with high-level athletes, right, in either wrestling and MMA, sanda, and kickboxing. Then let's forget even people who does eskrima and swords and stuff like that. But I like to always put myself to the test, and I had this mentality. I said, right, I'm going to learn this, but I'm going to resolve this with Wing Chun. You know what I'm saying? The logics of Wing Chun. Because you can't always have the teacher, the Sifu there to tell you exactly what to do all the time. You have to use a bit of your own brain as well. Then I go back to the teacher and I say, this is what I did. And he say, hey, you're stupid or it's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Sijo, I remember with the time that I spent, he was very, very practical. And he would say, that's a waste of time. That's good. That's not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I think that if Wing Chun works in this way, then a lot of people will value our Wing Chun as well, not see it as we only fight drunk people, because it's not true. It's not true. Look, I'll tell you from first hand. You fight against 7 or 8 angry guys, and they might be only 23, 24 years old, okay? And people say, oh, you're fighting kids. But do you know how much power kids are between 23 and 27? Or even, I know how I was when I was 18. I was super fit and I was doing a lot of boxing, right? So even at 18. But these young men, they're dangerous. They shouldn't be undervaluated. So when you're working in a situation of security and you come across a lot of young crowds, you'd be surprised at how much power, what type of power they do in their kicks and their elbows. If they try and grab you, it's a different language of combat, and people don't want to understand that. They want to sequence it all down to sparring. But you need to divide. The sparring is good to build up your reflexes, but then you need to work chaos and get your body adapted to that as well to make it work. This is what I talked about with Master Robin, and I think he understood this. I'm pretty sure he did, or else I don't think we would have had that conversation. Because a lot of people used to say Master Robin talk badly about Wing Chun, and it's absolutely not true. If someone's got the patience,
I don't think he has ever talked about it.
no,
Effectively.
no. I heard these stories. In fact, the first times I used to talk to him, I said, I heard you don't like Wing Chun, you know. I said, I beg to differ. And he said, I never said that. And anyway, he's a very open-minded person, and he's a very tough person. He's bloody hell, man. He's a fighter. He's a real fighter. And so he doesn't speak bullshit, but he doesn't speak badly about Wing Chun. He thinks it's actually quite good. But what did he say? All he said was, in the UFC or in the cage, it's different. It's the first thing he says in our conversation, you know. So when we teach, especially to the public, it's good to make them aware that the program is not just to fight, you know, idiots. There's also there is also a fact that within 8 billion people, maybe you'll only have 1.5% that knows how to fight or how to react. That's not many people. But that statistic is still studied not only by me, but by police forces and a lot of other different security institutions. We'll talk about reaction times and how the populace interacts physically and what they do, what they don't do. That in itself is a big study. Am I talking too much?
No, it's okay. You're just sharing.
I know that when we work programs of Chi Sao and you get to a point where you're doing it spontaneously, your Chi Sao globalizes. It's not just fixed in these positions. And I know that CJ talked about this as well. In a different context, we talked about weapons to empty hands. And even there, his whole way of moving was different. And it was more adaptive to combat situations. He would say, imagine you're in a civil war and you have to walk from here to there. How are you going to do it? How are you going to move your body? I'm not making this up. I'm pretty sure
he mentioned about the weapons. You mean?
Yeah.
You mean you mentioned weapons or just weapons?
No, you talked about long pole and the butterfly knives.
Yeah, because I remember he said, I asked him, I heard people say beauty was originated from Bajamto. He said yes, according to his research. That's why the technique is in beauties. It's actually from Bajamto. Yes.
But even the footwork changes.
The footwork is different. Yes. In Bajamto, because you're with weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
and long pole is different because long pole is long and heavy, so you need a wider stance.
Yeah, there was. That's why, you know, it sort of changes your way of doing combat as well, because he expressed that you could do the same movement in a very broad context. In empty hands. What you did with the sword work or with the pole work, I know that he said to me that you could do this empty-handed as well. So it's a very advanced state, though. It's not easy.
Not easy.
No.
So,
but
yeah,
that's what I've been working on, Sid, in the last 15 years, and it's Hong Kong's fault if I become crazy.
Hong Kong's fault.
You guys, I was already trying to research this stuff. I mean, all you did was confirm something that I believed was what CJ was teaching already in the first place.
So do you still teach like the teacher sections?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, I work. Let's say a more freestyle approach that I robbed from my first lineage, and how can I say it? what I've picked up from other people as well, like when I was in China, people already early in the morning, they were practicing Tai Chi, or they practiced Tai Chi with the swords, or they were practicing a lot of different stuff. That helped me grow a lot as well. And so, the thing is that the very advanced stuff is all good and well, but to teach it on a simple level is very hard. But when you ask me if I do sections, yeah, I do, and I intertwine these principles, and I try and
What about sparring? Do you still do sparring with helmet? I remember you train some of the students to participate in fight competition.
Yeah, we used to do full contact. We used to tie ourselves up as well. We had about 6 different categories of competition, from pushing hands or pushing hands to combat to long pole, but we also did a screamer as well, which probably but we used to do screamer competitions. So we'd either go to full contact, right, and we'd keep it within a mat. So it was a little bit like sumo, and so you had to start and finish. So, we would put protective gear on for sure. Then some people on an advanced level, as they got better with empty hands, they would do it without the headgear, because we learned more control, right? So we would hit into the side, or maybe just touch into the head, and we would go hard into the body and into the legs. But always maintaining the logic of Lat Sao, just start and finish, keep the flow going, and practicing all the time. Yeah, I still train my guys like this.
Good.
Yeah. So it's not like my Wing Chun hasn't changed. I mean, I try and teach to the best of what I've learned in the past, be it from more than one lineage, predominantly our lineage, because when it comes to fighting, that really got me on the path to understanding more direct combat. So I can't, at least in Wing Chun terminology, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's a million things I could say, I could talk about. And even getting back to Sijo, he has, I remember him having a lot of photos there with Grandmaster Leung Ting. And I said, how come you don't publish these? And he didn't want to, but I don't know if in the end he did. But there were a lot of photos that were publicized at Sijo. And then when I went to I saw all these other photos that I'd never seen before. And I don't know if he's ever publicized them. I don't think he has. Do you know if he has or not?
No, there were some photo. He didn't know even he was in it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Robin, maybe I've talked too much, and I still remain with the sincere intentions that I hope that one day there's a unity, that maybe some ways that people can maybe see Sijo, see you. It would be nice if you came to Italy. Yeah, I'm serious.
Actually, some people ask me about it, yes.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I know that I'm a bad guy and I'm not allowed to come. That's fair enough. But just tell Sijo that I still have very nice feelings or memories about the past. And whatever differences we saw, well, then it was politics. And I'm not a politician. So I prefer to stay away and let people do their own thing. In all honesty, if one day, your community came to Italy, I think there'd be a lot of people that would like to attend seminars and, learn the way you guys teach. You know what I mean? I think it's... I know. Yeah. Maybe Sifu Madai does it, but there's a lot of people that just would love to see Sijo, I think, and to see the Hong Kong family. When the Hong Kong family came to Italy, it was a good experience. I really liked it. That's where I met you, I think.
Yeah, 2000. But no, but I didn't know you were there until I watched the video.
All right. Yeah. That was the time in that period there that Cedro allowed me to go learn to him.
You came. I think you came after that one.
Yeah,
After
yeah,
2007. You came in 2008. Yes.
There was the massive earthquake. There was the big earthquake, and you put me on the 13th floor, and I said, "Yeah, but 13 is bad luck," and you said, "No, 4 is bad luck in Hong Kong," and I said, "Yeah, but 3 plus 1 makes 4." I said, and I remember the whole building was shaking, and I was so tired. I was so tired that I thought it was some sort of metro coming past the window because it was really loud, and I just slept through it. But the whole building vibrated. I remember that.
Really?
Yeah.
There were earthquakes in Hong Kong, but not too strong. Usually very, very minor.
No, that day there, the room was vibrating, and you told me, yeah, it was a big earthquake, but Hong Kong was built in such a way to resist earthquakes.
Mm-hmm. I only remember you said because the wall between your room and other room was so thin, so the couples on the other room, they were making love. They were so noisy you could not sleep.
It's true. It's true. My room, I think, was about 1.5 meters wide by about 4 meters long. That was it. And I think I had a basin to wash my hands, and we shared the community bathroom. There was the bathroom, community bathroom.
Yes.
Oh, well. Robin, look, thank you so much for doing this interview. And I'll record it. I'll do some editing on it. And I need to ask you on publicly, is it okay if I use some footage of you in action and put some bits and pieces whilst we're talking? A little bit like what I've already done now with the promo work.
Okay. Yes, no problem.
And give my respects to Cedro, give my respects to Elaine. I don't know if you're in like good relations with Sifu Chen Form, but if you see him, say hello.
Okay.
I hope that this interview shows a different side to the Hong Kong teachings, which is, a thing that a lot of people don't know. But also another thing, I don't know if we can really talk about it, but it's really important that I noticed that some people, and I won't mention names, they like to say, I spent time with Cedro, I did this, and they stay outside the front door of the gym but never came in, and they take photos, and they go saying that they taught from Cedro when they never did.
Actually, I could tell because I've been working very closely with him from 2004 August.
Yep.
So I could know who came to learn and who didn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know you know.
Yes.
I know you know. That's why I'm telling you. Yeah, it's just it's a shame. It's always better that like I don't make any super claims that I'm an enlightened being because I've gone to Cedro. I spent some special time with you guys. I treasure it, and I make nothing out of it except for what it is. It was a beautiful moment, and but it saddens me to see that there are some people who abuse that and they claim I did, and they never did.
And actually, I think there will be more.
Oh, really?
Even it happens even in China and in here. There's Hong Kong and mainland China.
Wow. It is what it is.
So I think what I should do is let my work speak.
Yeah, there's a lot of good information there. You post regularly, and
yes,
you're mainly
and I guess because of you, maybe you post the promotion clip on some forums. These few days, suddenly so many people follow me on my Instagram.
Maybe because
I don't know if it
that's
is
because
you
I'm
post
doing a lot of
something.
promotion. No, I'm only joking. No, that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, so
like
you're on
30 people a
Instagram.
day.
You're
I
on
was on
Instagram.
you like it too. You follow it too. Instagram. You like a few of my posts.
Yeah. I know. But I was surprised. I was happy to see you there. In fact, some of the videos that I uploaded, I got it from Instagram. Yeah, but what? That's Wing Chun Robin, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. If we go into Instagram, Winston, because what I'll do is I'll put a link at the bottom of the podcast. If that's okay with you. If people want to know more about you, what
Yes,
you do,
okay, no problem.
yeah.
No problem.
All right, man. Look, I'm going to let you go. Thanks.
Just
I
post
hope
the link. It's okay.
maybe one day we'll do another one in the future.
Okay. Today we haven't talked too much about I think not enough about the Hong Kong Wing Chun. Yes, the Wing Chun in Hong Kong. Maybe
Do you want to
someday
talk about
when
it now?
we think of some. No, when I think about something interesting, because I'm a bit tired. My mind. Yes.
Yeah. Well, we can do that for another podcast if you like.
You can because yes, and also I think maybe after you post this one, I think some people they might comment and they want to know more about this and that.
Yeah. I think it's a good start, and the thing is that I know because I lived the experience. I know that the way they teach in Hong Kong is different. It's different. And if in the future we could show more of that, of what's taught, I think people would appreciate it more as well. Personally, that's what I think. I got a lot out of it. I got a lot out of the European family as well, don't get me wrong. But all I'm saying is that there is a difference. They're very similar, but they teach differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can do that for another podcast. What do you think? Unless you want to talk about something now. But you're too tired.
Yes, I'm tired now. Another podcast, maybe.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Look, I'm going to leave you in peace, Robin, and let you go. I'll close up.
Okay.
Thank you for your time again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All
Thank you.
Take care, mate.
Okay.
Take me a
Okay,
moment.
take care.
I've got to close off. Ciao, Robin.